Yes, sir.
Yes, this regards to housing. When I drive around Los Angeles, I see all these high rises going up. But I never hear about what a one bedroom goes for. When I look into it, you're looking at $3,000, $4,000 a month. So like his friends, you know, any young person, they're gonna need an apartment that goes for maybe $500 or maybe $1,000 or less. So, you know, you're gonna build like crazy, but are we gonna have a guarantee, you know, where people can afford to live in it? That's the thing. You know, you can build like crazy, but no one can afford it. Just like your project over in Torrance, you said townhouses. Well, that's prime real estate. They're gonna go for like $1 million. So, you know, how does that help the people who come to you and say, where are my kids gonna stay?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I'm getting at. Thanks.
Yeah. No. You know, I've been supporting, you know, some version of building more public housing, because we know that if we just leave it to the market, you know, anything that's built in, you know, anywhere near the LA South Bay, where, you know, we're lucky enough to be able to live in, you know, the market is just gonna, even if we build more, it's just gonna be more expensive housing. You know, I mean, you know, the idea, the big picture thinking is that, you know, more housing in Torrance, more housing in the South Bay, as well as more housing, you know, throughout the rest of the state of California, that overall, you know, collectively will make housing more affordable. Housing's always going to be more expensive, you know, the closer you get to the beach. That's just a reality, because the weather's better and all the things that we enjoy in the South Bay. And so, you know, I know that this may be controversial with some people, but I think, especially for the very low income, we need to do more in terms of building, you know, either publicly owned housing or housing owned by nonprofits. I mean, we know that, you know, a lot of that money that we're funding is going to nonprofit housing developers to build units. I was just actually, you know, on the issue of affordable housing, although it may not affect you know, you, but I have two bills that I'm working on to build more education workforce housing, because we know that you know, too many of our teachers, as well as our classified employees, you know, can't afford to live in the communities that they work in. And so I was visiting a property, a new housing development right next to Gardena High School. And if you've ever been there, but right next to Gardena High School is this great education workforce housing development. You know, that is set aside for the low-income employees, because, you know, especially a lot of the classified employees, even though they're working full-time, you know, they're still barely able to afford their rent, and so that housing is set aside for that workforce housing. Yes, sir.